Perfect. And we are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the LFC Transfer Room. My name is Lewis, and today I'm joined by Carter, Menti, and Alan. And we've got a plethora, I suppose is the right word, a million things to go through today. A lot of news, a lot of transfer business going on, a lot of different things happening. But before we get into that, if anyone wants to hit the like and subscribe buttons, be really appreciated. Less than 80 to go before we get to 10K. So everyone needs to make sure they go over and do it now. We've got a lot to go through, a lot of really interesting, exciting news. Liverpool transfers, rumours, players who are leaving, players who could come back, a lot to go through. And all the subscriptions really do help towards getting this channel up and going. So really do appreciate it, guys. But yeah, Carter, how are you doing? All good?
Yeah, very good. All recovered after the game yesterday. So looking forward to talk about some of the topics and then see who we get in the draw later.
Yes, so the draw is at 7:50 as well for anyone who's watching. So if depending on how long they waffle for talking about unnecessary stuff, we might be able to give you a bit of a reaction to that. Alan, our chief reporter on the scene, is going to keep us updated with everything. Alan, how are you doing? All good?
Yeah, mate, I'm all good. Good weekend. Really enjoyed the game yesterday. I don't know whether we'll talk about the match at all. I know obviously it would have been covered a bit yesterday, but really enjoyed it. It was good to go to like a big away game and go and win. And you know, the narrative of it all is about like Arsenal battered us. I think I must have watched a different game. I didn't personally see it. I thought Arsenal were the better team, but you know, we took our chances, they didn't, and that's football. If you look purely on stats, I looked at it last night. I think Arsenal had 15 attempts, 5 on target. Liverpool had 12 attempts and 3 on target. They had 52% possession, we had 48. And that's a battering. Well, I'll take my hat off to them, but I don't think it is.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it was swayed by the first half stats. Because the first half, they were giving us a bit of a pelting, to be fair.
Did. But how many saves did Alisson make? 1?
Yeah. They weren't clinical.
It wasn't like when we played Newcastle and Dubravka made save to save to save. That was a battle.
Yeah, no, nothing like that.
You know what I mean? I think Arsenal the better team first half. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they battered us. I don't anyway.
No, I think they definitely played the better football, but they just didn't take advantage of it. So I think there's a nice sort of middle ground with this. I mean, Menti, first off, how are you doing? And then, do you agree with Alan with regards to that?
Yeah, definitely agree. I'm doing good. I'm excited to see how we pulled through that game. I'm just excited that the Camry players played really. That got me hyped a little bit when they came on in the 75th. Yeah. When they won 2-0, I was just like happy to be a Liverpool fan because I really do want to see the academy thrive. We got some talent in there. I'm excited to talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, Conor Bradley was exceptional, I felt, yesterday. He really, really changed it when he came on. Just before we start getting into the topics, yes, Franz Beckenbauer has passed away. He was 79 years old, I believe. He's passed away today. The Bayern Munich legend, one of the best, not even just German players, one of the best players possibly ever, outstanding player. If you go back and watch any highlights of him, any clips you can find, really, really stole the show. A lot of people saying rest in peace to him. So yeah, we're going to get started into the first topic. I mean, Carter, I'll go to you first. We've got a lot to talk about, so we'll start flying through, and we'll mention a bit of the match yesterday as well. But the first topic, the big one, I suppose you could say, is Jordan Henderson. He said himself he wants to come back to the Premier League. He's only been in Saudi Arabia for 6 months. There's a lot of players at the moment who have been over in that league, over in that country for a short period of time, and they're saying they want to come back. They don't like the coaching levels, the playing levels of the team around them who are already there. It's not meeting demands or expectations they had. I mean, Carter, is this something that we could have predicted before it happened, or is it still a little bit of a shock given the amount of money that the players are on over there?
I think in some cases it's always going to be like difficult maybe for more like European, especially like English players to sort of acclimatize. Because if you see like loads of Brazilian players always go to like Russia or Ukraine, and they tend to go all over the place. They'll play in all different leagues, and it seems to be less of an issue. But especially for like English players, you think like Woodgate, Owen, all going to Madrid, it didn't work out. Like there's not sort of a proven track record. And especially I think if you're trying to put people in seats, having Jordan Henderson as your sort of star signing is not really going to put bums in seats in Saudi Arabia. Like if you'd got Mane or Salah or someone like Van Dijk or something, you would have. But I just don't think it was sort of a recipe to succeed. Like I think it was they signed him, Moussa Dembele, who's up front for Lyon, a Dutch centre half, and Wijnaldum. Like that's not really gonna pull people to your stadium instead of Al Hilal or Al Nassr or what's the other team? I'm missing one, but any of those sort of big teams with Neymar or Benzema, it's just people aren't going to go there. Like they're going to go and watch the other stadiums the other teams in the other stadiums. Like it just doesn't really make sense.
From Henderson, and this might just be me, I feel like Henderson's a star in England. He's one of those players who he's an English sort of player, but if he goes to another country, another league, he hasn't got the sort of same appeal that maybe like Harry Kane had when he went to Bayern, stuff like that. Menti, I mean, Henderson, he's in a team which they haven't won in 2 months, and it feels like a lot of the players that Gerrard signed while he's still manager, a lot of the players he signed, like Wijnaldum and Henderson and players like that, were very much to sort of fit his system, whereas other teams signed star players, like Carter mentioned, like Mane, Ronaldo, Neymar, Mitrovic, stuff like that. We've seen in that league that stadiums have about 200 fans. Do you think it's a case of Henderson just does not enjoy the league, or do you think it is just a case of he just can't fit into the surroundings, or what do you think the main reason is for him wanting to come back to England?
I think it could be a mixture of like everything, just because he does have like a wife and stuff. So I feel like it's just different over there for them to accumulate. So, and a mixture of them not winning doesn't help at all. This just reminds me of like, you guys remember the Chinese Super League back in the day?
Yeah.
How hyped it was?
Yeah.
And it just went down. Yeah. Unless you're like Salah, like an Arab type of player, I don't think you're really gonna, wow the crowd out there. So I'm not surprised at all. Like someone in the chat said, he burned his bridges with us. So honestly, it is what it is. But it's multiple players. It's not just him, because you gotta get accustomed to it with your family as well. It's not just him. So if his wife doesn't like it, if he has kids, so it's just a mixture of everything.
I mean, Alan, Henderson's one is we all know the sort of the geopolitical statement of it. We all know, the LGBTQ plus rights and everything that sort of sparked controversy around this. Now, when Henderson first came out saying, well, he hasn't come out, just to sort of, it's been addressed. He's saying he wants to leave, but nothing, he hasn't come out right and said, I want to go. I thought because of all the sort of the controversy around Henderson leaving, that he'd be one of the last people to say, I want to leave Saudi Arabia, because of all the backlash he got. Is it, even if he isn't happy over there, is this still very soon for him to be saying, look, I want to come back, I just can't do this?
Yeah, I didn't think he would stay there till the end of his career. I thought he might do a couple of years and then maybe come back. I always think he'll end up back in like a Sunderland, where he came from. I thought that's where he would end up. Even when he was at Liverpool, I thought he might do a couple more years and then go to whatever level they were at. So it surprised me that he's trying to come back too soon. But I think Carter hit on the head before. A lot of English players are natural travellers, especially football-wise, because they're so used to the culture of, or socially the way things are in England. Even if it's very rare you see an English player go abroad and be there for, say, 10 years or 5 years, even where you would find now with a Brazilian, even like a Portuguese player, they would go and travel from their home country. Now, whether that's because the English league is normally quite so strong, or it is just the fact that English players just don't travel too well. I'm surprised he's trying to come back so soon. But as Mensch said, if you can't settle, I think a lot of it when people go abroad, it's how your family is. Because that's right, he's taken care of. He can, I don't mean financially, I mean he can go to the club, he can go train and do whatever else. So what can his wife and kids do? I don't know what it would be like over there, especially if he's got a young family who potentially are used to going to school here, where it's all English. You've got friends over here. It might be difficult making friends. So a lot of that, I think, is more likely to play into it. Just adding to the fact that they're not very good. And I think the standard of football, I think he's realised it's a massive drop-off from what he's used to. Now, whether he's thinking Euros, he needs to be playing a higher standard, because he might even feel his standard of ability is dropping. And there was a famous story, I don't know whether you've heard of it, but Graham Souness, when he was Liverpool captain, he went over to Italy, played, and the level at the time in Italy was a little less what he was used to in England. And I think at the time Italy had like a winter break, and he came back to Liverpool and trained with the players. And obviously he was still an exceptional player, but he tried to train with them, and Liverpool players at the time ran rings around him because his level had dropped considerably. So whether he's thinking that in the back of his mind, I don't know.
Well, yeah, it's a good point. Players you go over to that league, you acclimatise to the sort of the surroundings, and it reminds me a little bit, obviously not to this level, but I think when like Ibrahimovic went to MLS, he went over there and just thought, this is too easy for me. I need to go somewhere more competitive. And then he went back to AC Milan. Like, if you want to play to the best, going to a league like that is not going to do you any favours. And there's a good question actually here. And Carter, I'll put this to you. I mean, who was the last player to leave Klopp and do better? Oh, and Carter's gone. The question. Oh, and he's back. The question was too hard. So, who was the last player to leave Klopp and do better? Like, I can think of three. I think off the top of my head. Is there any that spring to mind for you?
Probably Danny Ings. Maybe. Centre halves. I'm kind of struggling. I wouldn't really say there's too many. Like, I think for most of it, Klopp hasn't sold any proper starter players apart from Coutinho. Right. Like, most of the time, he's just been shipping out sort of like, I can't remember if he's still there, like Stuart Downing and players like that. He sort of got rid of all the rubbish and the clutter, not to be too rude to them, but he sort of moved them all on. And now most of the time, it's like, how many players have left Liverpool in their prime? Like Chan, Coutinho, like Ings. Apart from that, I wouldn't really say anyone's left like at the peak of their powers. Like, everyone's kind of been way older. And you could argue Chan went and had, maybe not kicked on, but Chan went and had a good career. Like, he played for Juventus. He won a title or two. Captain maybe at Dortmund now. Like most players are kind of left older. So I think it's a bit of a difficult question to actually like fairly answer.
No, I think that's a fair, and it is a bit of it. The only ones I can really think of who have left and had any sort of things, like, I didn't even think of Danny Ings. That's a terrific shout. Dominic Solanke, a lot of people have said that in the comments. Luis Alberto, he's another one I can think of, and maybe Minamino. So it's Balotelli for one stage as well, for all that's worth. But Menti, I'll put this one to you. It is a good point, and Alan explained it perfectly, I think, before with Jordan Henderson about, he's left, he's gone to this less competitive league, obviously his level's going to drop. How obvious, when Henderson left us, were there clear signs of decrease in ability? Like, was it obvious that he was sort of on the wane, do you think, or do you think just going to this league has just completely made it clear and obvious to maybe something that we didn't see quite yet?
Nah, as a fan, you could tell that he was declining. I think Klopp knew it himself. We as fans knew it. It wasn't like 1920, but there was like a gradual decline. It was just getting worse and worse. That's why we're in fifth. So it's not really a surprise that he wants to come back, but this soon is probably the only surprise I could say. The timing. Other than that, not too surprised at all.
Why do you think is it that he got worse?
Honestly, love Steven Gerrard, right? We knew he couldn't coach. They have a coach that can't coach with players like Wijnaldum. He left us, got hurt, was never the same. Hendo, like, he was good for like 2 games because I watched a couple. Went down, and like, who was the other striker that you said from Lyon? Dembele. He was good at Lyon. I mean, he's not that good in this league. So usually all the players that he got were like on the decline. While they're like Al Nassr and all those dudes, they got decent players. They got like Telles. They got, I don't know their names off the top of my head, but they have like a really good squad. So like, if you watch an Al Nassr game, like, they're actually like packed. Like, Ronaldo obviously is on the team. Mane's on the team. They have superstars. When I watched one of Hendo's game, there was like 500 people. It was like a high school JV, like varsity basketball match. It's a little bit embarrassing, but I think coaching was bad. Level of soccer's bad. Family, everything. I just think it was going to go downhill for him.
Alan, I suppose the big question is Jordan Henderson. And it's a twofold question, just to sort of, would you have him back? If it was you personally, would you have him back? And do you think that what majority of the fan base do you think, with fans who'd have him back and fans who don't want him near the club now?
Ooh, tough question. I don't think I would have him back. I was gutted he decided to leave. But I take the money side and all out of the equation. If you think purely on a professional level, the fact he knew he wasn't going to play anymore, and I think it's difficult if you're a player who's been a mainstay for years and all of a sudden you're no longer going to play. It's a little harder to try to just accept it. So it just surprised me where he went. I think if he'd have obviously gone off somewhere, like say, like a Sunderland or somewhere else, like in the Premier League maybe, and then he was available to come back to Liverpool because we had injuries or something like that, I think he might be welcomed back as a squad player. But I think with him going abroad, and obviously it's for money, I think the fans wouldn't take him back because you've, as someone put down before, you made your bed. You now got to lie in it, and I like the guy, what I mean? Him going abroad for money, that's his choice, so crack on, and I'll never be always thankful for what he did when he played for Liverpool. He always gave 100% in every game he played. But he didn't go for sporting reasons. He went because he wanted. And I can't, again, if he came on and said, listen, I'm going because the money I can earn can set not just my family up, my grandkids and their grandkids for life. If he said that, I'd say fair play to you, fella. But he didn't. He said he wanted to go and improve the game over there, which, quite frankly, I don't think is true. I don't think Liverpool fans like to kind of be lied to. If you're honest, I think they'll accept it. But if you lie, I don't think it really does you any good. So no, I think on overhaul, I don't think the fans will have him back.
Well, it's when he did his interview and he was saying that it's a case of I wanted to stay, but I was told I wasn't really going to be in the first team plans. Which, I mean, is that a bit of a selfish mindset to have? Given we could all see the decline, we could all see the position that he was in, and like Paul said here, that his greatest asset is his running ability.
Yeah,
he didn't have that. Is that a bit of a selfish mindset from him to say unless I'm starting, I'm not playing, I'm not staying?
Yeah, well, I think it's just hard to to be an elite athlete at that level to kind of realise you are on the decline because, like a lot of these athletes, in the brain still works the same, and sometimes they find it hard to realise their legs have gone. We could see it for a while that his legs have gone, and that was one of the reasons last year we struggled because we didn't have the legs in midfield. All of a sudden, the legs have been run off those three midfielders, him especially. So, is it selfish of him? That's just how he probably got to the top because he's got that belief in his ability. And it's hard when someone's telling you haven't got it anymore. You are going to say, well, no, I'll prove you wrong. Well, sometimes you can't. Do you know what I mean? And it's even some of the greatest players I've ever seen whose legs have gone, and it's horrible to watch. I remember watching Liverpool play West Ham, and Stuart Downing run past Steven Gerrard, and it broke my heart. I thought, you could have done that a year ago. How are you doing that to him? But it happens. Father Time catches up with everyone.
There is, and like Michael Owen said himself in an interview with BT Sport a few years ago that he got frustrated because he knew what he wanted to do, but his body just could not let him. So it is something that happens. Carter, I mean, I want to get your thoughts on Jordan Henderson coming back. And while I'm on that, I want to get your thoughts on the other players who might be coming back because there's a good comment here saying, do Henderson, Fab, or Bobby deserve a testimonial over the summer? Now, would you have any of those players back? And if you did, what would be the reason for it?
I think it's difficult. I think because Wijnaldum and Fabinho probably aren't testimonial guys. Like you might maybe have sort of a few people have not a joint testimonial, but maybe sort of have one. But I think the thing with Henderson that I kind of don't like, because obviously you already discussed sort of the political stuff, which he's kind of turned his back on, which sort of rose him to his prominence, like supporting the women's game, supporting LGBTQ. But my thing is kind of Klopp went to bat for him and got him his contract. And as soon as Klopp was like, there's going to be a competition, you're not going to be starting, he sort of just went. And I think the difficult thing with that is who wanted him? Like, if you're Henderson, do you want to go from playing in Europe, being on a decent wage? Like, I thought he was probably a bit overpaid here, to be honest, compared to some of the lads on the wage structure. Like, do you want to go to sign for Luton? Do you want to sign for Nottingham Forest? Like, you may as well go and take the money, because you're just gonna sort of ruin your reputation, because everyone's eyes are on you. Like whenever Nottingham or someone play, they'll be like, "Oh, Henderson's passed it. He's passed it." It will be like scrutinized a lot because he's a formerly big player. But in Saudi, how many highlights have you seen? How many times have you seen someone go past him? Have you seen a goal? Have you seen an own goal? Have you seen him block a Trent free kick? Like, you just haven't seen anything. Like, I just think it's just an easy move. But I think for a lot of them, I think like Fabinho, we were in a very fortunate position. Like, we got more money than we should have. And that's kind of the only benefit with the Saudi league, is kind of if you've got players who you can't ship, who are on high wages, who have a lot of money, they can go there. And also it means someone like Firmino hasn't joined a rival team. Like, I think in some ways it's a positive for big clubs like us. Like, you look at Chelsea, how they had about 4 players get taken off their books. Like, Koulibaly was on £400,000 a week. Who was going to sign him? No one was going to sign him. And all of a sudden, I think it's Al Nassr come along, or Al Hilal come along and pay 20 million and give him his wages. So I think in some ways it's good for clubs like us. But I think it's difficult. I think Henderson, just because of everything he stood for, it's very difficult to sort of keep him in his same like position or like same sort of standing. But I think the rest, it's almost like, I think Bobby and Henderson definitely. I think the rest kind of maybe like a joint sort of testimonial.
Yeah. And I think that's a fair, because when a lot of them left, they sort of got do you know, like when Wijnaldum left, he got the plaque and he got the walk out onto the pitch, and I think that's a fine. Henderson, I agree, he didn't get the farewell because of the circumstance in which he left. And Menti, I'm going to leave this topic and move on to the next one with you. Would you, and I've asked this to the other guys, would you have Henderson back? Like, what role would he sort of play in the team if he was to come back? Would he be rotation? Would he start? And also, we knew if Saudi wasn't a thing, he was still going to be leaving in the summer. What level of Premier League team do you think he plays for if he comes back? Or is it even the Premier League if he does come back?
Like Carter said, I don't think he would have came back, just because he severed the ties with Klopp. So I just in no way see him even being like a coach, rotational player. I don't see that happening at all. And in terms of the levels, maybe like Luton, Nottingham. But if I was him, I would have went to like his boyhood club, Sunderland, in the Championship.
Yeah. And just someone has said that the FA Cup draw is on now. Our man Alan is on the scene. Yeah. Do not worry. He's talking if anything goes on. And someone else put a comment saying, I didn't know this, but apparently Jamie Carragher's son is on the bench for Wigan today.
He is, yeah.
Against Man United. Nice. Didn't know that. So you know what? That's interesting. That's come to us. Yeah. Come to us. Play like your dad. We're going to move on to the next topic. Just before we do, everyone just please make sure to hit like and subscribe. We're on, and I've got it on my phone because I monitor it during the streams. We're on 9,928. So let's try and get to 10K within the next month. If everyone hits like and subscribe right now, I reckon we could do that easy. Now, Menti, I'm going to keep it with you. The next topic we're going to talk about is Fabio Carvalho. Now, he went on loan to RB Leipzig, hardly played. I think he got like 2 games or something ridiculous like that. He just did not get any feature game time. Now, I want to get your opinion on the player. Take out all sort of, you can mention it if you like, but we're just going to focus on his ability rather than his personality and attitude off the pitch. How good of a player is he, in your opinion?
I think he has the potential to be a really good player. Super technical. If you looked at when he was at Fulham, he was like a little beast. He reminded me of like a mini Philippe Coutinho. I'm not saying he's Coutinho, but he was very good for his age. I just felt like him going to Leipzig just didn't work out, just because Xavi Simons came in. Like, there were just too many good players that he wasn't going to get game time. So going to Hull City, I don't think it's a bad thing for him, just because I've been seeing Tyler Morton. You know, I don't watch the games, but I look at the way he's been performing. He's been doing well. He's been developing decent. So I think that's why that move is happening. So if he gets developed right, I could see him being part of the future of this club. It doesn't look like they want to sell him. I think he might have those attitude issues they're talking about. We don't really know. But I hope it works out for him, because I do believe that there's some like talent in there.
Now, Alan, we've seen in the past, like, players who go on loan to clubs low and down. Obviously, Harvey Elliott went to Blackburn. He did outstanding. Connor Bradley went to Bolton. Like, we've got so many players who've gone to lower down clubs. Is Hull a good place for Carvalho to go? Like, is that a suitable team for him to play in to get development?
Well, quite possibly. I say I don't know enough about how Hull actually play. I believe that's where Tyler Morton is. So I know he got sent off. Was it last week? Which is a bit of a bad one. Like, but no, I think the key is the championship level. It doesn't really matter what team he plays for, because you're not going to get a team who play Liverpool's style of play. I think the key is obviously just getting game time, because Blackburn don't play like how Liverpool plays. But Harvey Elliott then learned how to play that particular, just getting used to playing men's football, getting used to being barged around and, getting stuck in, and probably learning how to handle himself a little bit. And I think that's when a lot of younger players go out on loan. That's what they need to go and get. Learn how to play a man's game, and tactically, learning different tactics is a good thing. So then when he comes back to Liverpool, he's got a basic understanding. It's not just all how Liverpool play. Do you know what I mean? So, I think it'll be a good fit as long as he gets to play. That's the main thing. Do you know what I mean? If he plays, then I'm happy. But I say, I don't want him to go somewhere and sit on the bench and not get any minutes, because otherwise he might as well stay training at Anfield. Do you know what I mean? So, yeah, hopefully he'll go there, get some good minutes, and play regularly, and hopefully develop and get a bit of strength in him and get used to playing against men.
I mean, Hull in the past have a track record of loan and offers. I think they had Harry Wilson at one point, and I'm pretty sure Markovic went to them at a stage as well.
He did, yeah.
Yeah, and so we've got a good history of Hull in terms of players going to them on loan.
Yeah.
In your opinion, and I'm going to keep this with
you.
Liverpool
at home, sorry.
The same sort of question.
Liverpool at home against, I'll tell you now. There you go, Norwich or Bristol.
Ooh. I'll have Norwich. I'll take Norwich there.
That'll do.
Play good against Norwich.
Yeah, that'll do me. Right, phone's off. Carry on.
Okay. So just a quick thing then, guys, if you didn't see that, we do have Norwich or Bristol City in the next round at home. So, we've done the Man United and managed to get another home draw in a competition, which is great.
It's not a Premier League team, which is good. Very rarely. It's always Premier League teams we seem to play.
I think we kind of deserve it after the Arsenal one, because we deserve to play someone else. No disrespect to Norwich or Bristol, but, I'd love Joey Barton to have still been the manager of Bristol Rovers. Bristol even. Or is it Bristol City or Bristol Rovers? Bristol City.
Bristol City, yeah.
I'm being a fool. And why Norwich over Bristol? I don't know, if I'm being honest. I just quite like the Norwich games in terms of entertainment. They're entertaining games whenever we play Norwich. I don't know why. I like the thought of it. So this kind of throws all the things in the works. So, Carter, go with you. We'll come back to Carvalho, but are you happy with that draw, Norwich or Bristol?
Yeah, it'll be good. Be a good opportunity to rest some players, give sort of maybe Cade Gordon or like Bobby Clark a game. I just think it's good sometimes to just not have to play Van Dijk and Salah and Alisson every week. So it's just, and Trent as well now. So yeah, I just think it's just good. It's what we need. It would have been, people might think I'm mad. It might have been good to maybe play City and try and play them as far away from the final as possible. But if not, I'd rather, if it's not them, you want someone easy, and that's not easy, but you want someone who's not in the Prem. So I'm quite happy with that. Give some other people minutes, and yeah.
I think what's quite important about it as well is it falls a few days before we play Chelsea at home. So ideal playing someone at home. You could, as Cart said, give some of the senior players a rest or have them on the bench, break glass and energy type stuff. And obviously after Chelsea, we then go and play Arsenal. So it's a good time not to be playing City. But I understand your logic with City, I really do. But that weekend, just because Chelsea and Arsenal, I'll happily take a lesser team and try and rest some players.
Carvalho, you've sort of taken a back seat here. Just go to Hull.
Sorry, fella. Sorry.
Sorry, Carv. Get some
Nothing
games and we'll
personal.
talk about you. Nothing personal. If you want to come on the channel, go for it.
Ooh, Spurs City.
Spurs versus City. That's a good one. And
Nice one.
mentally, I mean, it's really interesting point actually that Alan's made, and it's just associated me with something. You mentioned obviously the home draw, and we had that recently where we had, I think it was Arsenal at home, West Ham at home, and then we had someone else at home straight afterwards. I mean,
United.
that was it, United, sorry, yeah. So that is really a good to get another home game that could be instrumental in fitness. I mean, is that something you agree with?
Yeah, 100%. I just like when we have these type of games, just because I just want to see the academy people play, just because we don't see them a lot. Yeah. Like yesterday when they came on, they made the best of that situation. So, you put that in the back of the manager's head that, you could be reliable towards the end of the season for other cup games. So when the academy players, when they get a chance to play, I'm always for it. Yeah, I just like seeing the development of players, and especially when it's like your club and they end up being good. So it's always good. So I love seeing that.
Well, I'm going to keep this with you. You were really eager to talk about the academy players when we got onto the stream today. And is there anyone from that Arsenal match who impressed you enough to want that you want them to start in this match coming up against Norwich or Bristol?
I say my favorite player would have to be Kwanzaa. I was just saying crazy stuff at the beginning of the year, saying he's going to be a starter like in a year or two. So I'm excited to see Kwanzaa, but I do want to see Connor Bradley and Bobby Clark play. And then Cade too. 100%. I do want to see Cade as well. I would say those are the main guys.
Yes, yeah. I mean, Connor Bradley yesterday, I caught it from 70 minutes on. I caught it from just before he came on till the end because I was in work, and then I went back and rewatched it. And from what I saw, I mean, Connor Bradley looked unbelievable when he came on the pitch. He looked so composed and so able-bodied. To go up against Martinelli as well, I mean, that's a tough ask.
He's a good player, Martinelli. I do like him. I think he's a Liverpool-type player, really. Klopp mentions it quite a lot, so I know Klopp's a fan. But yeah, when he went on, I was like, okay, Canate's played well, so we can cover him. We didn't really need to cover. He stood his ground. He read the game. I think what I was more impressed with, because I've not seen much of him play, was his reading of the game, like where to be positional-wise. He's a young player. Young players naturally get caught out of position. You get a little giddy and lose focus and lose position. I didn't think he was caught out of position once yesterday. You just always... And what I liked as well is when he went forward, he looked quite comfortable on the ball. Now, listen, he's not Trent. Yeah. But he is. No. Do you know what I mean? But he looked very comfortable. Exactly. He looked really comfortable on the ball, and I liked how he played. So, as Menti said, I would like to see him in the next round. I also would like to see what Owen Beck would do, because I think he might have played yesterday if he was suspended, surprisingly. But yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Owen Beck play, because I think he played in the League Cup game. I think it might have been last year or the year before. It might have been the year before when we won it in an early round and he came on. Because I think he's related to Ian Rush somehow. I think. I'm not too sure if I got that mixed up or not.
I can find out.
Yeah, I think he's related to Ian Rush somehow. I don't know how, but because I remember he was like a big hoo-ha when he played. So I wouldn't mind seeing him play. I like Menti. I think Kwanzaa's going to be a superstar. You wouldn't have thought he was a 19-year-old.
Owen Beck is Ian Rush's nephew.
Right, okay, yeah. Oh, wow. But yeah, I think Kwanzaa, he just looked... You go to Arsenal, okay, I know Arsenal missed chances and all else, and he played well. I thought Arsenal's tactics yesterday were fantastic. He pressed us really well, but he never succumbed to it. He never crumbled. I thought he was really immense. So much so when he hobbled, I thought, oh no, don't go off. I need you to stay on. I thought he was really, really good. So I think he's going to be a great player. But there's so many exciting youngsters that you want to just kind of see given a go and see what they can do.
I think we're very lucky in the sense of we've got a first team and we've got great backups, and then we've got this academy third team that's coming through, and the fact that they're able to push the starting players as much as they are is superb. And Carter, I mean, I want to get your thoughts on the Arsenal game yesterday. We were discussing it briefly before. Like, Alan made a really good point that we weren't dominated as such. Arsenal played the better football, but they just couldn't finish their chances, and we, in a sense, got lucky, I suppose, because they just couldn't finish. What did you make of the game yesterday? And is there anyone, like I said before, is there anyone who really impressed you in that match?
I think sort of yesterday, sort of a big issue for us, I think, was sort of the build up. Like, I think Gomez played really well, Quansah played really well, Konate played really well. But you have three players, especially with Gomez at left back. I think it's sort of not the best playing out sort of setup. Like, I think a lot of time Gomez wants to come back on inside, so you sort of lose sort of having like a natural left footer on the left. I think Quansah and Konate, I don't think I saw a long pass once the whole game, sort of switching play. Like, I felt we got quite stuck in, and that also let Arsenal sort of sit up on us all quite a lot. And obviously they have Nunes, and especially when Jota came on, he did quite well. He won a few headers and stuff. But I think they could sort of pin us in quite a lot. And that's sort of my only one thing with like Quansah, is maybe not as sort of as big a behemoth as Konate or as athletically good. I like him to be maybe a bit more adventurous with his passing. Although, yes, I know he is 19 or whatever. But when I know Levi Colwill gets maybe a lot of stick, but he's very accomplished on the ball. Like, and you look at some of the players that we're linked to, they do make a lot of sense, because when Van Dijk's there and Matip's not there, you do lose like a lot of ball playing. And I think when we play a team like that, we to sort of beat the press, we do kind of rely on maybe a long out ball to Salah or to Diaz, and we just didn't really have that. And I think after we sort of grew into it and got a bit more confident and we started taking a few more risks, like I think Jones did really well and would sort of just calm down and sort of take it back towards our own goal and relieve a lot of pressure. But also I think maybe, I don't know if it was a proper change, but we sort of moved Harvey in. We moved Harvey deeper. And I think when we had like a proper midfield three, we started to sort of gain a bit more control on the game. Oh, sorry. As good as a player, I don't think Gakpo's that great in midfield. Like, when we're sort of pushed up and it's the 80th minute and someone's backs against the wall, yeah, put him in midfield. But I think when you're playing a top team, you can't have him as one of the midfield three.
And I mean, we'll move on from Arsenal in a moment, and Menzi, this is just to you. We're still in all four cup competitions at the moment. I mean, Europa League, we're in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup, we're in the round of 16, the Europa League, top of the Premier League. Could we win all four? Do we have a team capable of doing that this season that we maybe didn't have 2 seasons ago when we were on for the quad?
I mean, I wouldn't usually whenever when people talk about quads, etc., you just got to go game by game. You really don't know what's going to happen, really. We may get players in January, we may not. So if I say right now, oh, we're going to get the quad and we get no one in January, it's like it's going to be less. But I mean, we have a shot. Until we're out, we're still in it. So I won't say no. We just haven't hit our best yet. I don't know. When we watch Liverpool, we all know we still have that one gear. We have one more gear to go where it's just 1920. We're just attacking. When Nunes starts getting his goals, when the midfield's more compact and they have more control. So until we start winning games like that, I won't say anything. But I won't say we won't get it either. So I say we're still
now.
in it.
There's a comment here saying, I'd like to remind everyone the contracts of Salah, Van Dijk, Trent, and Nat Phillips run out on the 30th of June, 2025. I mean, I don't know how we will survive without Nat Phillips. I just want to get that really across. But there's and it's not the most reliable of sources. Francois Plateau, he's got a lot of Liverpool discussions, basically. A lot of different things come out. Now, apparently, according to club sources, Mo Salah's contract extension is almost guaranteed. That's in discussions. The club is aiming to extend Jurgen Klopp's contract until 2028. Trent is determined to sign a new long-term contract, and Curtis Jones is set to be offered a new contract, which he'll sign at the end of the season. Now, I want to get everyone's thoughts on this. If you need me to repeat them, just let me know at any point. But which one of those 4 would you want the most out of all of them? What's the one that you're... Menti, I'll go to you, and then you, Alan, and then you, Carter. Okay. Menti, which one of those 4 are you wanting first and foremost?
I would say Salah, Trent, Van Dijk. in that order of importance, I would say. So I say Salah, just because of the output he's giving. I don't think until we have a proper successor, I say Salah.
Now, okay, so if it was the Salah one compared to say like the Jurgen Klopp one and the Trent one and the Curtis Jones one, so all four of those are apparently close to extensions. Which is the one of those four then that you'd want to keep if Salah's the number one player, so to speak?
Klopp is up there too, but like say for instance, Klopp wins everything with Liverpool, but like I know he wants to coach the German national team. If that opportunity is there, I could see him going on a high note. If not, I could just extend him. But I feel like that's going to come down to him and what he wins at the end of the day. So that's how I'm looking at that.
So that's a really interesting way of looking at it, to be fair. Sort of like what City fans have with Pep, where it's like, well, he's won the treble. I mean, what else can he really do, kind of thing. Alan, would in out of those four, and if you want to do the free player one as well, I think that's a really interesting thing that Menti brought up, actually. What order are you doing those, and which one's the one that you'd focus on the most?
Oh, Jurgen Klopp, that's a doubt. He's the reason why we are where we are now. Players are great, but players will come and go. I know the manager will as well. But while he's in charge, we can still have great times. Once he goes, look at United. United are no longer the team because Ferguson's gone. So how did he, he can't replace Salah. But someone will go on right midfield one day and try and score the goals Salah scores. But trying to replace Klopp, that's, I think, going to be really, really difficult. So if I had to choose one, the first one I would try and get would be Klopp. I'd give him a lifetime contract. I know you can't, but I would. And say, stay there as long as you want. As long as you want, mate, you stay there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he'd be number one first. And then player-wise, I'd probably go with Trent afterwards.
Yeah.
Because he's Liverpool, he's going to be the future of the club. So you'd want to get him tied down. Because like Salah and Van Dijk, although very important and obviously amazing players still, and they're not on the way down. But obviously, you'd want to make sure Trent is tied up. Just like it was when Gerrard was there, you make sure he's tied up as long as you can be. So I'll have Klopp first and Trent.
I mean, Partha, same question to you, and I want to give a sort of a mention to the one player in this who's not really been mentioned, which is Curtis Jones. Apparently, that contract, that is of the four the most likely to happen because there's been multiple sources saying this. I want to get same question: which one's the most important to you? Which one would you be going for? But also give a bit of thought and insight into the Curtis Jones one because this is coming out after the Arsenal rumours were coming up. So are we being reactionary and signing him to a new contract because of the Arsenal rumours, possibly?
I think for something for Jones is, I think we might have seen some of us in this, but I think his money is quite low compared to a lot of players. And it does, and obviously for anyone else, for all of us, we'd take whatever he's on. If it's £10,000 a week, if it's £15 a week, we'd all snatch your hand off for that. But in terms of some of the other players in the squad and what previous guys like Keita and Chamberlain and stuff have been on, obviously he's not expecting, but he kind of deserves now. I'd say I'd start him in everyone's fit. I'd start him in the midfield. Definitely him and probably the best presser in the team. He's starting to get goals now. He's getting involved, and he's obviously Scouser as well. I just think there's not really a fault. I think he's a proper all-round, all-action midfielder who just needs to build up a bit more confidence. But then sort of maybe ranking the players and the manager, I'd say maybe just people might think it's reactionary, but maybe with sort of Alonso about, I'd maybe almost say Trent, Klopp, Van Dijk, Salah. Because I think Van Dijk you could maybe get 7 or 8 years out of if you look at Thiago Silva. I think Salah's sort of the least, has the lowest like shelf date or something, sell by date. Like, because the press continues to be really strong, is he going to be able to maintain that sort of running? You look at guys like Ronaldo and people go more middle in central and stop maybe pressing as much. And I think like Trent, you just have to keep him. Like as much as sort of, maybe in my mind, I think how amazing would it be for him to go to Madrid and sort of get the plaudits that someone like Bellingham has. Like if Trent was there now, he'd probably be like, oh, Trent's got to win the Ballon d'Or. Trent's the best player in the Liga. Trent has to start for England. Trent, like, is he going to be future England captain? Oh, he's a leader. But obviously for Liverpool, people aren't ever going to sort of say maybe to that same extent. But I think the thing with Klopp is I think the difference between us and Man United was maybe not now, but we had the infrastructure. We had Edwards in place. We had all these guys where no matter what, the recruitment will be good, no matter who's the manager. Whereas now it's like the manager's still very good, but some of the recruitment, like sort of Gravenberch looks very sort of timid and maybe not a complete. He's still very new, but is very sort of timid and doesn't seem like sort of a Liverpool signing. Where then you compare him to like Konate, like sort of the last proper Edwards signing, it is a bit night and day. And you look at Diaz and Gakpo, who are sort of Ward signings, like it is a bit like night and day compared to like previous like successes.
I mean, United as well, when Ferguson left, all the players that were in that team, bar maybe one or two, were coming to the end of like Evra, Vidic, Van Persie, Rooney, all these players were done, and he just left at the right time. Whereas anyone who inherits our club is going to be in such a good position because of the age and the experience and the players. And there's a lot of people saying, Ancelotti, I thought he was leaving. I thought he was going to Madrid. He signed a new extension till 2026 at Real Madrid. He's not going Brazil. So he is going to be there for another 2 seasons. And he said he wants to stay there beyond 2026. So there's a good chance he gets another 2-year extension at Real Madrid. So Alonso could be a possibility for us. That's always something we could look into. I mean, I'd love to get your reaction on this. Alonso, is he the natural next successor for Jurgen Klopp, or is there anyone else you can maybe see coming in?
I just think it has to be him. I've been watching some Bayer Leverkusen games this season. If he wins the Bundesliga this year, I'm pretty sure FSG will look at 2026 as a date where they're going to think about it, because his style of play is very attractive. Like Frimpong, the wing back, it's very similar to how Trent used to do it. He gives them freedom. So I think he's a really good coach, and his style of play is amazing. I'm pretty sure him and Klopp, their contract ends on the same date. You guys could look it up. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
I just feel like it just lines up, and I really think Klopp is going to manage the German national team. I've heard him talk about it previously, and that's something he wants to do. And if he goes on a high, I don't see him leaving. But Alonso would be a proper successor to Klopp. His style plays amazing. I mean, you guys will love it.
I mean, I've watched games with them, and it's unbelievable the work he's doing. And I know Gerrard was linked as the successor, but I think that was more for the story more than the actual ability. This just seems like destiny that Alonso's come up out of nowhere and his contract ends at the same time. I completely agree. Failing that, I think my next choice, and it might be a bit out there to some people, I'd love if Pep Lijnders stepped up, maybe, because he understands the system, the style. I've got no problem.
No, Pep Lijnders is a horrible coach. He's the one that decides for Gakpo to go into midfield. He's the one sometimes that messes up the formation. I'm telling you, if Pep Lijnders becomes the coach for Liverpool, we would be so bad. We would be worse than Arsenal. Just anyone but him. Just anyone. That's just my opinion.
No, that's fine. If that's your opinion, mate, feel absolutely free. He will not be able to recruit top talent. Maybe not. But hey, this is not something we have to worry about for 2 seasons. So we'll see where we go from there. There's a couple of topics. I love Curtis Jones, but does he start if he's fit and available? 100% yes. I'm not being. If he's keeping Gravenberch out that team, who was meant to come in and be the starter, and he's the player who's keeping him out of this squad of his ability, and he plays like the Wijnaldum role, I think. Absolutely, he starts 100%. Now, Alan, we will talk about the elephant that's not in the room, but it might be in the room. We just need to give it a couple months. Mbappe. I've said his name more times than I've said my girlfriend's ever. And he's apparently meant to be coming to either us or Real Madrid. Now, with this Ancelotti thing, with him extending his contract till 2026, that might play a role in it, because Mbappe knows what manager he's going to be playing for. He's looking like he's going to be there longer, whereas Klopp looks like 2026 is it, and then that's the end. realistically, where does he go, Mbappe? Because nothing's been decided yet, and there's quite a few sources, including Fabrizio Romano, who have said this themselves. Like, nothing's been decided; it's all up in the air. What's your thoughts on it?
I think he's going to Madrid one day, or sooner or later he's going to end up in Madrid. Now, would I be happy for Liverpool to be a stepping stone for him to go to Madrid? Yes, I would. But I don't know whether he will. It doesn't. I don't want to get myself into this hype. Oh yeah, he's going to come. The thought of him playing left forward for Liverpool is like breathtaking. That would just be like, wow, take that. But I just don't see it happening. I think we've got more chances of signing Jude Bellingham, and he ain't coming, than Kylian Mbappe, because I just don't. I think I tell the story with the Mbappe stuff, obviously because his mum's a Liverpool fan, which is fair play to her. She's got good taste. But yeah, I don't. Yeah, fair play to her. But no, would I have him at Liverpool? Yes, I would. But I'm just tired of all that. Because like yesterday, he was talking that he's rejected Madrid, so he's come to the Premier League and Liverpool are favourites for it. Then an hour later, it's all been agreed. Then this morning, he's now hasn't decided. I think the way Klopp is, you either want to come to us or you don't. So that's how it goes down. If he comes, will it unbalance the way the team is and the chemistry that the team's got? That's the question you got to ask yourself. Ability-wise, no doubt. By all means, come and join us. But it's whether does he unbalance all the harmony within the squad, the big I am that he tries to be. Because I don't think Klopp will stand for it.
I personally completely agree. Now I've got Fabrizio Romano's statement in front of me. Kylian Mbappe's own camp have said this, by the way. There's no agreement on his future. There's been no discussions about his future. No type of influence could dictate the timing of discussions, reflections, decisions. Nothing has been agreed. Now, Carter, look, we won't stay on this one too long. There's another thing here that says Real Madrid and Liverpool are the most likely destinations for Mbappe should he leave PSG. Although Real Madrid are leading the race, Mbappe has long been an admirer of Liverpool, and Klopp has not ruled out a move to him coming to the Premier League. Now, I agree with what Alan said. I just want to get your thoughts on this. And how do we, under an FSG regime, who I've got no major issue with FSG, so this isn't like an FSG out or an FSG in kind of thing, but we've seen what they're like with money. How do we realistically fund this transfer if this is something to happen?
Well, I think when you sort of look at it being free and the potential for like a sell-on eventually to someone like Madrid, I think you can look at it like that. And I think also just having Mbappe on the books, how much has that sort of increased like the value of the club? Like we maybe go up another, if you have Mbappe for 5 years, the club maybe goes up another £1 billion. You sort of we sort of put ourselves in sort of the marketing sort of generating area, like the amount of money sort of Barcelona, Madrid, Man United make, we can close that gap. Like just having the best player in the world, the most marketable player in the world, obviously once Messi and Ronaldo are properly done, it just puts you to another level. Like everyone, like people from all around the world will watch Liverpool games because of Mbappe. It's like if there's 2 Champions League finals on, semi-finals are on, and neither team, any of the 4 teams aren't your team, you will watch Liverpool because you'll want to watch the best player. Like I'm sure we've all sat there when Liverpool were not in the Champions League and you're like, oh, who do I want to watch? Messi, or do I want to watch Schalke versus Man United or something like that? You're going to watch Messi. Like, so it's such a big commercial move for the club. And I think everyone, I think it's like, why would Klopp leave? It's like being an F1 driver and you finally get the best car and you just leave. Like, there's no point leaving. Once you've got all the best equipment, why would you just stop? Like, I think his wife would be happy for him to continue. Like, it just, and also players like maybe Salah would be the only one I could see being a bit like, well, I'm the main man. But I think guys like Virgil, Alisson, Trent, because they're all maybe a bit further back and not in the same position, they'd be like, yeah, we'll take him. You'll be happy for someone like him to come in on a bit more money because they've all played against him. They're all like, we know how good this guy is. And he puts us this much closer to winning trophies. And not only that, you probably look at like negotiating. If you're Trent and Mbappe signs £600,000 a week, Trent's like, well, sweet, I can now get £400,000 a week. So I think in some ways, a lot of players wouldn't mind maybe the wage structure breaking. So I think a lot of people would be very for it in the club.
Yeah, and like there's obviously Pauline just said, there's talk of Klopp renewing his contract, and she thinks it's likely because he'll want to develop this team. Now, we'll carry on with the Mbappe thing just for you, Menti, for the last question of him. I feel like Klopp might be like the sort of the Tyson Fury of management, where he'll say, "I'm leaving, I'm done, I'm out of it," and he'll get to that point, and then he'll be like, I can't quit, like I have to keep going." And there's no better place to keep going and keep extending. And I agree with what you said. I think Mbappe as a commercial entity would replace the sort of what Mo Salah offers. Is he appeals to a key demographic of the world. He appeals to like loads of different countries, loads of different markets, and he's like the number one shirt sales in teams, in leagues and countries that he's not even a part of. So having Mbappe come in, who's that commercial entity, who everyone knows him, he's the poster boy. Everyone knows that World Cup final shirt sales and market revenue, he would benefit the club. Like when Ronaldo went back to Man United and they made so much money off his sponsorship. I mean, Menti, like, can you see both sides, pros and cons of Mbappe, and which side do you more sort of fall on in terms of? I know you've already sort of mentioned it before, but what one would you be looking to do? Does it make more sense to sign Mbappe, or does it make more sense to just give it a miss and keep doing business the way we've been doing business?
If FSG could sign Mbappe, like that's a player you break your whole wage structure for. Just like Carter said, you'll go up in value like easily $1 billion. Like after that World Cup final, like everyone in America like starts watching soccer more because we're like anticipating for the next World Cup. He is so popular. Like he's a Nike athlete. LeBron James is a favorite player. He's one of our small owners. Like it's so easy to market. I feel like FSG is smart enough. If they could, somehow have good negotiations, I could see it happening. Maybe it's 3 years, like a stepping stone to Madrid with the sell-on clause. It could work. It only benefits the team. And if you guys are worried about like attitude and stuff, I know I said like Klopp might leave, but if he gets Mbappe, like Carter said, I don't think he's gonna leave. I really don't think that'd be like, as a fan, that's something we hope for. That's like having. I mean, him and Holland are the next Messi and Mbappe for like the next 10 years or so. They're very young, so they're going to be competing for a while. Imagine City versus Liverpool with those two. Oh my days! I think it just only helps the club. Even though he might have some attitude problems, Klopp's the right guy to handle that. You see how it is with Carvalho and everyone else.
Yeah, sorry, Carvalho, you sort of got swept under the rug a bit for today. I do apologise for that. I mean, Alan, Liverpool have sort of when Salah signed his deal like last summer. So I've got the memory of a fish, but when he signed his latest deal, there was talk of, oh my god, they've broken the wage structure. They've really gone above and beyond here now. Mbappe would command more just in a signing on fee alone than Salah would probably make in a year. Like it'd be ridiculous money. I mean, for someone like Curtis Jones. Imagine 15k a week Curtis Jones working for like a 750k a week Mbappe. It really, it wouldn't be fair to those players who have learned under Klopp and developed under Klopp to then have this person come in and be like, well, I'm on this much, I'm the best player in this team. Can you see that sort of side of him? And like, just how good would he be in the Premier League? Do you think he could hack it in the English game?
Yeah, I think he can hack it in any league he wants to play in. I think he's that good. I think he's that fast. His scoring, his touch, everything is perfect. Obviously, how much Curtis Jones is in comparison, it's a little bit like if you go back so many years, no matter what Steven Gerrard would have been on, if Messi came, I think he'd be happy to say, yeah, you have whatever money you need. If you're one of the best players in the world and we have a chance to sign him, we go and get him. Now, obviously, within the harmony of the club, I remember he was, I don't know what player he was for Arsenal. He was talking about when he signed Alexis Sanchez. Yes. Obviously, he wasn't he was a great player, but he wasn't the world's best player. But when, I think Arsenal at the time, but it was like obviously sort of pre-season, and a couple of Arsenal players were doing like a live, I don't know, shirt sale or shirt unveiling, whatever. And it came on Sky Sports News that he signed Alexis Sanchez, and they were like, "Oh my God, can you believe who we just signed?" They couldn't believe it. You imagine if he signed for Liverpool in January, February, and now he can't come till the summer. Whenever that day was announced, he signed for Liverpool. You imagine being at Kirby, and the news breaks, Mbappe signs. You're going to be thinking, "Yeah, I'll stay around here." Because as Carl said before, if you're on 20 grand a week, so I'm sure we can live with that. I know you can earn more money, but life's about opportunity. So the opportunity to play with the world's best player potentially is, I don't know, it's frightening. But again, I don't want to get my hopes up. So as far as I'm concerned, he's going to Madrid. So I'll just I'll worry about it when he comes to play with Madrid against Liverpool. So
100%. I'm in the complete set. I've had my heart, like even Mbappe, like in the past, the Alexis Sanchez one you mentioned. I remember when we were meant to be getting Cesc Fabregas at one point. Like there's so many players who we've been linked to in the past, and it's not happened. Mbappe is just one that it's so out there, and I just do not see it happening in any world. And I'm going to go round each of you one at a time just before we sign off, and I want you to give your percentage out of 100%. Do we sign Mbappe? Carter, what percentage do you think we sign him?
I was like, 15% maybe. Yeah, 15. Like, hopefully, fingers crossed, but not very likely.
Menti?
25. I'm just throwing a random number.
25%, that's higher than a 40.
Hey, it's a quarter. Hey. Why not? I can hope as a fan,
And Alan, I mean, I kind of feel like I know what your percentage is going to be, but
yeah, it's probably about 1% chance. But while our 1% chance is there, go for it.
There's always there was a 1% chance we beat AC Milan in the Champions League final. There's a 1% chance that we beat Barcelona at half time. There's a 1% chance that we got that comeback against Dortmund. This is probably more unlikely. This is like 0. This is like 0.5. I'm sorry, but yeah. But yeah, that is going to do it. Sorry again about the Mbappe talk. I swear next time I will not talk about him. I'm not even going to say his name.
Once he signed for us, then you can talk about it.
If he signs for us, it'll be the most viewed stream ever, for us.
There'll be 20 of us on.
Oh my God! Honestly, I will do a 24-hour stream if we sign Mbappe. Honestly, I will go and go, and I will say it. Someone honestly, I will do a 24-hour one if we sign Mbappe. I really will.
That'd be so funny if that happens.
Apparently, I'm cut off now. That's great. But yeah, everyone, please make sure to hit like and subscribe. Really, really close to 10K. I think we could have it done in a month. I think we're 72 away. So if we could just anyone could do it, that would be absolutely fantastic. Like I said, the streams every single day from 7:30 p.m. UK time. There's a 2 a.m. UK time stream for American audience as well. Like I said, 24-hour stream if we sign Mbappe. So if everyone wants to really DM, tweet, do whatever you need to do to get him in, that'd be absolutely fine. But yeah, really appreciate everyone viewing today, guys. Menti, Alan, and Carter, thank you all for coming on, and we will see you in the next video. And just before we do as well, guys, please go check out the last video I did with Steve Hoare from Redman TV. There's an interview up on the channel. Really, really good video. So any support on that would be appreciated. And from myself and everyone, we will see you